Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships and welcome aboard the Bismarck, German Tier 8 battleship. Now, the Bismarck is an interesting beast because it comes right after what I think is an exemplary ship, the Gneisenau, and doesn't bring much to the table except for 11.3 secondaries and two extra guns. You lose torpedoes, and you lose the Tier 7 matchmaking. I mean, in Tier 8, you're probably constantly going to be seeing a good chunk of Tier 10 ships. This match had a relative lack of Tier 10s, which is a welcome change. But still, it's not as favorable matchmaking. And a lot of players will probably feel disappointed by the Bismarck, especially with improper commander skills and builds. Also, I'm not saying the secondary build is the best way to fight the Bismarck, or play the Bismarck. It just happens to be the one that I have right now in this match that turned out to be pretty good. Okay, anyway. Main guns-wise, you have 8 380mm guns. They're not the exact same that the Gneisenau uses, but they're very similar. I think Gneisenau has a lighter shell, which means higher velocity but less damage, but I could be completely wrong. It might be the exact same. And her armor is pretty good. You can face tank. You can sit nose in to pretty much every single ship you see except for Yamato, because you have 32mm plating on your bow and stern. Although your stern is more likely to receive pens because it's not as sharp an angle, or something like that. Our team has deployed reasonably well. It's kind of questionable what the Shores is doing, but I guess it works out. I don't really read too much into that at the very start of the match. Some people will tell you that matches are won in the first 5 minutes. I think that's complete horseshit. Anyway, let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, this is amusing. This kid rushes our Fletcher. I take a shot at the kid because why not? Fletcher eats a torpedo. And just an interesting start. 2 overpens on the kid. That's fine. I wasn't expecting anything more or less. In fact, I thought I was going to miss, because though you do have decently large guns, they aren't as big as the North Carolina or Amagi. But they can barely hit the broadside of a barn. So yeah, your max dispersion is 274 meters at max range, so you really shouldn't be sitting at max range sniping with this thing, because you're never gonna hit anything meaningful. Unless you just have insane luck, like a rune sailing broadside onto you at 16 kilometers, who can't hit you. But that rarely happens. Let's be honest, the game has been out long enough that people who were once noobs, who give a shit about the game, have improved to the point where they understand basic concepts. I mean, this rune probably didn't, because that's a quarter of its HP gone. That just felt satisfying. Of course, he responds with a double fire, which was not amusing. I hate HE when I'm in a battleship. And that's something the Bismarck is reasonably vulnerable to, is HE spam, if it's on the superstructure. Because the superstructure is only 19mm thick. I'm pretty sure that's a standard for everything. Like battleship-wise, I think cruisers are even thinner. But you do have a 50mm deck, and your side armor is pretty tanky. I think it's a 320mm belt. So, moving right along, we're pushing up through the B cap. I don't want to be that guy who sort of just goes on a honeymoon trip to A and gets bogged down there. I mean, not that our team did. They pushed through after they killed everything. And wow, I just realized it's a Mahan versus Kitakaze. Now I do get a little lucky here because there's a lion that I'm kind of sailing broadside onto that I didn't realize was there and didn't eat any citadels. Which was both a combination of luck and the fact that the Bismarck has a turtleback scheme, which makes it incredibly difficult to citadel it at close range. At long range, though, that's a different story. This Neptune thought he could smoke up and farm us, but I'm just going to pop my scout plane and farm him. Of course, it's also a Neptune. He can heal, I want to say 50% of that. And unfortunately, we do beach, but Neptune only has 152mm guns, which I can comfortably bounce. Now, I did shoot there to become spotted by the Neptune again. I want him to shoot me. I want him to be firing his guns so that I can see where he's shooting in smoke and make use of that scout plane. Unfortunately, I think we were a little high on our aim and missed him on the second volley. And he's obviously got a better reload than we do. So. I tell you, I'm so glad from a school perspective that it's Friday. Not from a game perspective. Our next volley, I've corrected the aim, and we end up finding his citadel one last time. And we're going to try to get moving, because the team... I don't know, we have a decent advantage. The enemy has lost 3 ships. We've only lost 1, and that's the... what's it called? Fletcher, from the beginning. So we're doing alright, but our team's positioning is a little interesting. I mean, look at where our Iowa is. Granted, like, I don't want to say, oh my gosh, Iowa noob, but get a cheeky citadel on the Kronstadt. That's satisfying. Like, I don't want to say OMG noob Iowa, because I don't know what's going on, but it's just a little questionable, especially considering none of their team is in the cap yet. I mean, York, Shores, and... well, York and Shores, that's fine. They're long-range AP. HE spammers, kiters, they... I don't want to say excel at range. They're more comfortable at range. And I have no clue what our Friedrich de Grosse is doing. But I digress. Neptune strayed to within 11.3 kilometers, and our secondaries are opening up. You can see it's kind of a crapshoot without manual fire control, and that's expected. Honestly, this is mostly a deterrent to enemy destroyers who stray into either my hydro or my spotting range. Speaking of torpedoes, there's the Neptunes. And I don't know what that lone torpedo was. I guess he made use of the single fire ability of the British cruisers, but I'm not sure. Anyway, our lightning torpedoes the Mahan, which was the one thing kinda sorta holding me back on this flank. I do have hydro and it is up, but I'd still rather not push into a destroyer and smoke unless I have support, which I don't really, but the lightning took care of that, so thanks lightning, means a lot. Neptune's gonna try to smoke up again. Let's see, 1 normal pen, but this is where I realize I'm kind of pushing into a crossfire. You can see all their ships there, and the lion over there is well within range, I think. So I don't really want to show broadside to anybody, but unfortunately I've put myself in this position. Fortunately, the Gneisenau turns broadside. Unfortunately, we got trolled by German dispersion. But that's fine. I don't mind. Do pop hydro just because I know the Neptune has pretty nasty torpedoes, and there they are. Thanks, hydro. I guess the Neptune thought I was going to try to camp at the island I was right next to, hence the relative tightness of the spread. I don't think this... Yeah, no, that blind shot completely missed. We're in a rough situation right now. We've got a Gneisenau pushing Kronstadt 13 kilometers away, which is a little far. Hint, hint. And a Friedrich de Grosse going behind the island. So yeah, I kind of want to disengage, because as I said, I kind of pushed into a crossfire. Though fortunately, islands were well enough positioned that I'm able to disengage without taking too much damage. Get a nice 5.5k salvo on that Gneisenau's nose, because he can't bow tank like I can. Ha 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 ha. Kronstadt is being incredibly passive. I'm not sure what this guy thought he would accomplish, but he's sitting perfectly broadside to me. And, well, look at these shells. Only one of them bend out of 4. That's, I guess that's 25% hit ratio, which isn't bad. It just feels disappointing when you only have 8 guns and 1 shell makes contact, I guess. So. And honestly, this probably also has to do with me not knowing how to aim for shit. I'm a terrible shot. Anyway, this match is about over. I mean, we've only lost 2 ships. And I think one of them was in B, and I think the other was in A. Though I can't be sure. Oh, no, it was at F8. I want to take a shot at the New Orleans, but... look at that. Look at those rear guns. So well dispersed. But of course we miss. Thanks, RNG. But I'm in a decent cover position here. I do pop my last heal just because I figure, what the hell. You know, we're close enough to being at the end of the match. Try to get a cheeky kill secure here, but the Friedrich de Grosse ends up getting the kill, which is fine. We are going to get one last decent volley on there, Friedrich de Grosse. Oh god, is that a survivability build, Friedrich de Grosse? De Grosse? De Grosse? I don't know. FDG, how about that? I like that. I think that is a survivability expert. FDG. Anyway, we get one volley off at him before the game ends. It's a decent 10k volley. The dispersion was okay. Probably should have aimed a little bit further to the left. But with that, the game ends. We ended up getting a Dreadnought out of that, which is something I really appreciate about the Bismarck. I don't want to say it feels easy to get Dreadnoughts, but I think I've gotten more Dreadnoughts in the past, like 3 days grinding this thing out than I ever have in any other ship. So yeah, 98k damage, almost 99. Earned 313,000 credits, which is pretty respectable for a silver ship. And scored 5 citadels, 3 of which were on a Neptune, who I think ironically enough also got a Dreadnought. But this was overall a pretty good match, and I like it because I think I positioned myself rather well, in the sense that I wasn't ever like off on my own. I was always kind of centrally located, able to shoot wherever I need to, although I really only had to shoot on the northern flank. So team-wise, Argonauts now finished top of the team, which is awesome, I think. Bottom tier ship finishes top of the team. Always like to see that. We finished second, and the Lightning, which is a British destroyer, finished third. Overall, pretty fun match. You can see we did 42k against the Neptune, and I think he has something like a 45k HP pool, so definitely got a Dreadnought. 18k against the Kronstadt, 16 against the Rune. It was really just the 1 Citadel and 1 Pen. And then 10k on that FDG, 8 on the Gneisenau, and then those 2 overpens on the Kid. Let's see, we received 1.7 million potential, which is not terribly impressive, truth be told. We tanked 85k damage, 18,000 of which was from fires. Anyway, I want to show off my commander build, and I will come right back with that. Okay, as promised, this is not my commander for the Bismarck. My Bismarck commander is actually on the Friedrich de Grosse, because I want my secondaries. You can see, I did take priority target. I like that information. Preventative maintenance just increases survivability of modules, which is decent enough for a secondary build. Adrenaline rush, because it's so good. And basic firing training and advanced firing training to increase our, I think it's both AA and secondaries, which is nice. So I think going forward I will be taking direction center for catapult aircraft, because it doubles the amount of aircraft you have and increases, you know, the uptime of your aircraft. With this captain, I will probably not go down the concealment line or survivability line. I'm going to take, where is it? This, manual fire control for secondary armament, because it decreases dispersion by 60%. So this will be a meme captain for my Grosse Kurfürst. Anyway, that's my basic build. It's not necessarily right or wrong, it's just what I find, and I enjoy it. Anyway, you don't care about that. Well, maybe you do. This is a more generic battleship commander build, and I think I made a bit of a mistake going with Adrenaline Rush right off the bat. I think I should have gone with Jack of all trades, but I digress. It's only a 2-point skill. I have basics of survivability, and for the first 4-point skill I'll be going with fire prevention, because I want this to be kind of a tank build. Anyway, as far as modules go, I like to think it's pretty standard. I've got, well, for a secondary build, I've got auxiliary, armaments, health, and AA health, just to reduce them from becoming incapacitated. Damage control 1, secondary battery mod 2, which decreases dispersion and increases range. This is why on this captain our secondary battery has a 9.4 kilometer range. For the 4th slot I took steering gears to get our rotor shift down to 12.8 seconds. And I don't... DC damage control 2 could be a decent pick for the survivability build, or the tank build, just because of the synergy it has with basics of survivability and, well, yeah, just basics of survivability. So, might go with that. Oops. And finally, I took concealment. I don't really know which of the two from this tier to take, because your concealment is just meh. I mean, I'm sure a concealment build works, but it's not as good as something like the Missouri or the NC. But I digress. That's my basic Bismarck build, and that really concludes the commentary for the Bismarck. It's a decent ship. It has its advantages, its downfalls. Also, I do recommend running premium repair party and hydro. You can be a little willing and heal. You don't necessarily need the premium scout aircraft. So, my basic recommendations, and that concludes the Bismarck commentary. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. I will try to be putting videos out much more regularly than I have been. But until next time, I will see you later. Peace. Peace.